singing experiences I've ever had going to movies.
Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done.
It's a terrible film from beginning to end.
You know the theory of reincarnation, where the dues we pay in this lifetime, we may get to collect in another lifetime. For having seen this movie, I want months and months and months in a beautiful valley.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, we give it a 3.
Well, maybe it wasn't that good. Let's give it a 1.
Welcome to Bombs Away, a bad movie comedy podcast. My name is Tyler Rowe.
And my name is Peyton.
And I'm the bitch that's back, Jarrett.
Okay, all right. For those of you returning listeners, welcome back. And for the new listeners out there, welcome forth. For those returning and interested, if you haven't already, give our update episode a listen so you can be caught up on all the developments, news, and how the show will be going forward. It'll answer most questions you may have about the show. So let's just get right into it. Released for a modest budget of $84 million with a middling 31% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.1 on IMDb. It's 2002's Scooby-Doo, the movie. So for these first few episodes, we decided since we were going to have a new host to the show and an old host return, we figured why not introduce everyone to who we are, and we're going to select some movies that we personally love that might not be the best. So, Jarrett, explain to us why you chose Scooby-Doo the movie.
Well, those people that were there for the early days and then some special episodes, they'll know that I really just love anything that's bad, but actually not that bad. I think a lot of it stems from just cult movies and how they kind of progress over time, because I honestly believe Scooby-Doo the movie is already a cult movie, or it will be soon. Because, there was that resurgence of Shaggy being a god, Matthew Lillard being a god the memes a few years ago. They're great. They're funny. They're hilarious.
The new meme now is everyone is incredibly overtly horny for Velma. That's the newest thing.
That's new? Oh,
I mean, it's always been a thing, but now everyone's like being like overtly horny on Maine for Velma specifically.
I watched this movie 2 times in the past week. I love it. It's a great movie. I think it's super fun, and I don't think a lot of the criticism that it gets, I think it's just the criticism was valid for the time, but that's because it was in that crappy CGI era.
Well, and that brings me to something that's interesting about this movie that cracks me up is that everyone is so CGI. It's not that bad, but everyone is so quick.
Time it's not.
Everyone's so quick to point at Disney and be like, "You guys trying to make these live action remakes of cartoons? Nice try." It's like before this was the Rocky and Bullwinkle live action movie as well. So
and
it's like
before that was the Popeye live action.
And
which was also Disney.
That's right.
So it's like, you guys, listen, it's been bad forever, okay? It's not
the
just
Jetsons.
Disney. Oh, God, the Jetsons. That was supposed to happen, actually. And then the Flintstones was so bad. The second Flintstones movie was so bad. They're like, fuck it. Do not bring that up.
They should have done the Flintstones meet the Jetsons movie, live action.
I think that's what it was supposed to be. And then they were just
Infinity War, I think? Isn't that the time travel?
No, that's the alternate universe Marvel.
That's going to be next season of WandaVision. It's going to be it's going to take place in an animated universe.
WandaVision.
But I think one of the reasons why this movie ended up prevailing and becoming so good is specifically because of who wrote it, which if you did not know, it's written by James Gunn. Yes, that James Gunn. There is no other James Gunn, not Tim Gunn. Don't think that it was done by Tim. Make it work.
Scooby, make it work.
He definitely made it work.
No, but so my choice for this, it's been a classic. I was a huge Scooby-Doo fan when I was a child, and then this came out. I remember I was in 6th grade when this came out, and I was about to move from Southern Illinois to Missouri, and so I was going from 6th grade into 7th grade. So going into middle school, I was moving with no friends.
And all you had was this movie.
I did, and I had the soundtrack, and I love the soundtrack.
With Sugar Ray?
Don't get me started on Sugar Ray, all right? But like the very first song, no, it's the very last song on the soundtrack. It's the full instrumental of the first scene all the way through them breaking up. And I remember like in 6th grade going to sleep to that instrumental music. And I think that's what got me into instrumentals, or not instrumental, just like soundtrack music. Because I was like, oh God, this is really sad and they're not friends anymore. And that kind of sparked depression for me.
You're like looking out your window, it's raining on the pane, you have your hand on it, it's just playing this sad Scooby-Doo music.
Yeah, and it was really sad. And I still get really sad where it's like, where Scoob says, he says, do I quit? And then Shaggy says, no, Scoob, friends don't quit.
He says, Raggy, am I going to be put down?
Euthanize me?
Well, yeah. So
it has a special place in my heart as childhood, and then growing up, it's my feel good movie.
Beautiful.
It's important to me.
That was so beautiful. But yeah, so James Gunn is going to keep coming up throughout this because there's going to be some undertones that are really just overtones due to the fact that this was originally written to be a much raunchier film. James Gunn said back in 2017 that an original cut of the film ended up being R-rated, which does suggest that they left a lot of stuff in. I personally, with my tinfoil hat on about it, I personally think that's just James Gunn being James Gunn, and there was no way this movie was ever shot to be R-rated. Well, but I do believe that the script at some point was.
One thing that was surprising, he did say that they had to go back in and CGI to cover up a lot of boobs.
Yes.
Really? And then there was a cut scene of Velma and Daphne kissing. And so I think the reason it got that R rating might be because of some of the more R-rated words and jokes, as well as visions of boobs and homosexuality, because it's a quote unquote child's film. And that's why it would have, I think, in my own deduction and own reasoning, that's why it would have reached that level.
Is that why Pamela Anderson's in it too?
Oh my
there was
God.
actually 25 minutes cut of the film where they just play her sex tape with Tommy Lee throughout the film.
And that was my favorite part. I love the unedited movie.
Was Tommy Lee going to be that opening ghost guy? And then he's like, I would have loved you like George Clooney.
George Clooney in proportions.
Well, since we're already talking about the opening of the movie, let's get right into it where it all starts, just like many of us in a clown toy factory. This is honestly like it's like they nailed it right off the bat.
Yeah.
For a Scooby-Doo movie opening setting.
And I think because I started writing something where I was like, if anyone fell from that height and had like a chain or any sort of rope wrap around their leg and they bounce like that, that would clear shear off their leg. And then I had to tell myself, this is a cartoon with humans in it. So you can't have those criticisms of like, that would actually kill a person. So right off the bat, I corrected myself on that. I was like, no, it is a cartoon. We're just watching it with people.
It is a cartoon, but it seems like Scooby-Doo is the only one that can be affected by cartoon physics. Everyone else sort of was obeying.
I literally just talked about how Velma's leg should have been ripped off.
Well,
no, but
and
that's like I agree with the
loose
thing. That's
physics.
like a suspension of disbelief cartoon physics, whereas like Scooby-Doo is a cartoon character existing fully in a real world for some reason.
Yeah. There's like physics that apply to the humans that like are like it, but it's very loose based off of, her leg not being ripped off. Yeah. But Scooby-Doo just defies gravity.
Honestly, the scariest thing about this movie is that it started out with them being harassed by a juggalo, and that's a really alarming way to start your children's film. He just busts in, he's like, whoop, whoop.
Right. Well, so then the original version of this movie, that original script, the Luna Ghost was originally supposed to be the main villain, and you can still see ties of that throughout the movie. If you notice, the laughing clown and the haunted house that they go through shares a lot of similarities to the Luna Ghost. So I think that was supposed to be the tie through of it.
there's a lot of like gesture imagery throughout it, so I could see that would be the case. I don't know how they were going to do that and make it work, but considering what the director of this film has directed previously and beyond, I'm just happy that we got a cohesive film. This was directed by Raja Gosnell, who is critically acclaimed filmmaker, directed Beverly Hills Chihuahua and the Big Mama movie with Martin Lawrence. So he's really just crushing it out there in Hollywood. Big shot, next best thing up and coming in Hollywood in 2002, I believe.
Dang. Those are the only 2 credits he has?
No, there's other ones, but they're all bad. Those were the two most notable awful things that he's done.
Standouts.
Yeah, he also did Never Been Kissed, that what's it called? What's her name? Drew Barrymore film. Yeah. And so it just, I don't know, man.
I'm not Josie anymore.
I know. I just, in my heart of hearts, I knew you were going to be like, yeah, I know that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, he also edited Home Alone 2. He was an editor before, so really striking out all over.
And if other people also don't know, James Gunn is very heavily tied into the Trauma universe. He has a lot of connections to that, and it's very prevalent in his Guardians films. But there are still inklings of that in Scooby-Doo, where you've got like the really random henchmen that all kind of have their own unique designs that are a little bit over the top and like dramatic, but like
the luchador.
Yeah, like the luchador and all those other weird guys that show up. And
the
this
guy
was
that has Sharpie on his head.
Yeah,
that's not.
This was his big break. Essentially from Trauma, that he had almost exclusively been working with Trauma before this, and this was kind of his first time doing anything not for Trauma. But like I said, Peyton and I were talking about earlier, is that a lot of his early stuff is pretty nasty, especially if you remember when he got like semi-canceled for a while there. Yeah. And that kind of carries through most of his films. And you can, like I said, you can tell there's little inklings throughout this movie where it's like, yeah, this is written by James Gunn. Do not give this man a children's film.
Did anyone else notice that Daphne was very just casual about being molested by the Luna Ghost?
Yes.
She's like, come on, guys, this guy keeps grabbing my ooh.
Yes.
It's like, ooh, there we are. All right.
God, it's and then it's like this creepy old man after all of it.
I'm a lover boy of George Clooney in proportions.
Yikes. Oof.
Yeah, they, the typical gang shenanigans happen. Apparently, Pamela Anderson owns this toy factory, which
doesn't explain why she drove the mystery machine through her own factory's doors instead of
was it her who drove it?
Yeah, she drives in the mystery machine, crashes through these doors, wrecks her own product. And then is like, you guys helped me.
You know what? It was an insurance scam.
Yeah. I think this is all insurance fraud.
Yeah, she probably put him up to it as like, hey, you're going to scare my factory, and then I'm going to collect a bunch of insurance. We'll split it both ways.
Don't say that too loud. This is going to become Amazon's next anti-union tactic. They're going to put a Luna Ghost in there where this to get people not to vote yes.
Jeff Bezos is 100% a cartoon villain from Scooby-Doo.
That's very true.
Just a horror.
But yeah, this is where we're introduced really to the initial, conflict of this film, which is that Fred is a dickhead. It's just that, like, everyone fucking sucks from Mystery Inc. except for, of course, Shaggy and Scooby.
Well, I think they all kind of have their own issues. Fred is kind of the worst about it, but I know I was really turned on as a sixth grader whenever Shaggy said, and Fred, you're the big banana. And I was like, yeah, he is.
He's like, yeah, that
bananas. I really do like those things.
Accurate
They really should have
description.
gone full force with the homosexual undertones in this film, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get the gang. They split up because they just can't fucking get along anymore. Yeah. And we jump ahead to what is it, like a year later or
2 years. 2 years later.
2 years later.
Yeah. And we start off by hearing, pass the duchy to the left-hand side. Oh.
They could not wait They literally, I noted it. They could not wait more than 8 minutes to get their pot joke in. This is a joke that has been being made from the 60s since this show was made.
So funny.
I remember
it's a van,
when they went in there
coming out of the top, and they're laughing, and they're like, "Whoa, we're getting toasted!" And they're like, "We're toasting mushroom."
Yeah, and then they also are like, "Don't answer the door if anyone knocks on it, too." But
quick, Scoobo, grab the foodo. Let's scrammo.
I would love to see if they went in there and they were just ripping a bong. Like that was their one like PG bong rip moment that they got.
That would have been great. It would have made the movie that much better.
Yeah.
Also, I don't like you can't smoke weed with your dog. That'll kill him. Don't do that.
It doesn't kill him. Don't worry.
Oh my
I'm kidding.
Oh gosh. Share it. What have you done?
Yeah. They have their instance. It really sets up Fred and Scooby's relationship compared to what has happened, but they're still kind of who they are. I do like the moment where he says about the whole like, oh, we don't go anywhere it's spooky, scary, haunted, or forbidden. And then Scooby goes, or hydrocolonic.
Yeah, okay.
And someone pointed out like, oh, it's supposed to be like hydrochronic, where I was like, no, it's about water getting shoved up your butt to clean your butt out.
Because I think he does a fart right after or something.
Scooby tucks his tail under and is like, ow, my butthole.
See, my whole thing was like, I am a 28-year-old man, and I still had to Google hydrocolonic because I was like,
colonoscopy, colonic.
No, trust me, I've had a camera in my butthole. I know, but it's like
that's your Twitch.
But I was like, what the fuck? Like, this joke probably went over the heads of like even adults in the theater. This is literally just James Gunn typing at his computer, being like. Just like only him.
It's funny because they scaled it back to be a children's movie, and even Linda Cardellini was like, well, I don't think this is appropriate for children. Like, I don't know how it got to this point. But, but they have to put those adult jokes in children's movies, but it really seems like this is a children's movie 100% comprised of adult jokes that have been scaled back.
Well, no, yeah, I was going to say this is an adult movie that was turned into a children's movie, as opposed to, Pixar does it best, right, with the adult jokes, but it's like it's a children's movie with adult humor. This is an adult film with children's humor like sprinkled about. So yeah, they get invited to Spooky Island, and then next thing you know, we're at the airport, and Fred and Velma run into each other. Again, the casting in this movie is fucking spot on.
It's amazing.
So good. The only thing initially, so apparently this is one of those developmental hell movies.
Yes.
So there was one of the eras was with Mike Myers attached to it as Shaggy, which I don't think would be great. But Mike Myers mentioned that he wanted oh my gosh, what is her name? She's the camp counselor or the camp director in
oh, yes. I know you're talking about. The girl who looks like Linda Cardellini but is older than Linda Cardellini.
Yes.
She's in Wet Hot American Summer. Janine Garofalo is her name. Yes.
I was like, Jennifer Garner. No. But Jennifer Garner was actually thought about to be Daphne as well.
Interesting.
But yes, Jennifer Garofalo.
I was reading on Wikipedia that Jim Carrey was originally attached to be Shaggy before Mike Myers as well.
That was iteration number 1.
Really? Yeah, that would have been an interesting take.
Went to 4 or 3. It was crazy. But yeah, so one thing that I've definitely picked up from this movie is just the way that Linda Cardellini responds to Fred when he's talking to her. She doesn't say yes. She responds with, yes. And it's really weird, like nerd type of expression where it's like she goes with yeah and then ends with yes. That's just one that's carried over. It's so interesting seeing them all come back together, but then rewatching it, I've been like, oh, that's only 2 years of a difference, but they've all had these extreme character arcs. Whereas, like, I don't think that would actually happen over 2 years.
No, yeah,
and I think that's NASA. That's crazy.
And that's one of the things that's crazy about this movie is like, okay, I'm supposed to believe that after X amount of years of time that has passed, depending on what is like the canon storyline of this film, just like that's the final straw. But then 2 years later, they're all completely different people. Like they were all being held back by each other, I guess. But yeah, this is, again, like I said, the casting is so fucking spot on. We were talking about other people that were supposed to be cast. They ended up casting Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred and Daphne because they wanted somebody who was an actual real couple so that they already had that chemistry with each other. And Peyton, you were saying something about this is the first time that they've ever actually been depicted as a couple.
Yeah, in franchise history, apparently, since, whatever, the 60s when they started, this is the first time they were actually on screen depicted as a couple. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see that sort of fan theory, I guess, actually play out. Looking at you, Disney, for WandaVision. Hey, you don't know what they did in that pool of souls?
I was thinking like the bathroom, like the scene we didn't see was like Fred joins the Mile High Club.
See, I think they're still horny, like put through it, because if you notice, Matthew Lillard is freeballing the entire time.
I am very proud to say, I'm very proud to say that as a heterosexual man, I did not notice Shaggy.
It is a lump in his pants. Where I'm like, all right,
I'm not surprised.
I support this.
Corduroy pants.
That's why he had to die and scream because Billy was mad that he had a bigger penis. He's like, you have to die too, bro. That's how this goes down. And then this is, we were talking about how the CGI isn't too bad, but there is an instance coming up right now where I do think that it is too bad. It's like Jar Jar Binks, like episode 1 levels, which is when Scooby-Doo shows up cosplaying Medea, apparently.
They don't allow dogs on the plane.
Yeah, which is like, they allow cats? I know we're getting ahead of ourselves there.
Instead of a cage. That cat was going crazy.
But also another question of mine is like, okay, we see Spooky Island eventually, and it's this grand amusement park, but what the fuck? It has its own airport? Like, you could fly directly to Spooky Island?
They flew and then they had to take a boat.
Yeah, that's...
But like they're on the thing in the airport, it says Spooky Island. It's like departures to Spooky Island. I was like,
they have their own terminal.
What the fuck is up with that? Like this place is like, it's Disney World on a grander scale. Like this is all Walt ever wanted.
It's a dead world after all.
Oh, that is a thing they say. I thought you were being clever, but that is something they say. I'm not.
And then he says I want to say the Electric Death Parade.
No, he says Splatterhorn.
The Splatterhorn, yes.
There's a death march or death parade or something like that connects to as well.
Yeah.
Not much honestly happens on this plane. We're introduced to Mary Jane and another, probably one of the most poorly written, egregious pot jokes in this movie.
That's like my favorite name.
It's so fucking bad, man. I'm just like, come on. That's trauma James Gunn like slipping through. He's like, oh yeah, they won't get it if he's just like, nice name. It's just so fucking stupid.
That's
but I'm
like
also
my favorite name.
Yeah, I'm also so confused by this plane because this movie did come out in 2002, which means, sadly it's a plane and it's 2002 and I have to link it, but it's after 9/11 and like this plane would not exist.
No.
It's like, one, if it crashed, I'm going to get a bamboo spear through my brain. Like you're just freely roaming. There's like a full bar in it. This is like the craziest plane that's ever existed. And, I've seen Soul Plane. So,
hey, it's a spring break destination,
Let's hijack this plane.
Yeah, they got through TSA quick or something because they didn't have to search for anything.
It was lax back then.
Not after this.
Yeah.
Spooky Island was actually one of the like terrorist destinations, but it just didn't pan out. Everyone was too freely roaming around the plane.
Yeah. They're like, Spooky Island. That's target number 1. Yeah, but like, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it today.
It's like,
let's hit America instead.
So we finally get to Spooky Island, and personally, I want to go to Spooky Island so bad. The art design of Spooky Island and everything that has to do with Spooky Island is it just blows my mind. If I can just like be like a set design nerd for a moment, it's this set design and everything that goes into this movie. And again, I know you love this movie, Jarrett. No, this is with peace and love. This set design deserves far better of a film. There is really just like it deserves so much better.
Well, see, what's funny, one of the negative reviews online was like, this set looks like it was borrowed from Gilligan's Island, which I was like, A, what Gilligan's Island are you watching? B, it's a really good portion of this film. It's really good set design.
Oh, yeah.
The only set that doesn't look good is like the cave, which looks like they shot it in like the parts of Pirates of the Caribbean that are only rock.
They were like, what if we drain Pirates of the Caribbean and then film in there?
Do you guys mind if we film some shitty CG monsters in your ride?
Whatever.
But yeah, then we're introduced to, and I totally forgot his name because I only said, hey, Mr. Bean is here. I can't remember.
Emil Mondavarius?
Mondavarius. Yes.
Mononucleosis, as Fred says once.
And he is the owner of Spooky Island, and he's the one who has personally invited the gang to the park. And he needs them to investigate why the kids are leaving the island transformed into
the people
Karens.
I love. Where I'm like, please do not say that you love college students.
Oh.
That sounds creepy.
I love these guys, these kids.
Do you know who previously owned this island before Mondavarius?
Oh, Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. It just carried over. It's a curse. And again, this is like the whole thing of the gang still hasn't gotten back together, really.
That's the beauty of things that are broken. They can be put back together.
God damn, you really do like this movie.
Welcome to
know it backwards
Jarrett's
and forwards.
one-man show of Scooby-Doo the movie.
I would go and see it.
A dog and a dog?
It would be so it would be like so good because I know there would be costume changes. Like, throughout. Jarrett would play every single character in
I would
full
sing
hair
the
and makeup.
songs in the transitions. In the land of a million drums, there is always something.
Is that
going on?
That
It is
Outcast song?
Outcast.
I was gonna say
When they get to the island, a fucking absolute bop of a song plays. Again, a song that deserves a better film.
It really does.
But what is the most infuriating thing is this song only exists for this movie and if you have the soundtrack on CD.
Really?
The soundtrack is not, or the soundtrack is available on Spotify as far as I know, but this song is not.
Oh,
because
wow.
the rights are tied up somehow.
Yeah.
And
Outcast
this song
was
is
like,
so fucking good.
don't put our song on that associated with that movie. That's just don't do it.
You mean we're gonna have to shoot a music video with who?
Right.
Shaggy and a CGI dog?
But
At
wait,
the
Sugar Ray
Mills?
is featured throughout your whole film? Forget it.
God. Do you know there are 5 people billed as playing Sugar Ray, and only one of them is Sugar Ray?
Really?
Wait, so you're saying
no, that's a band, isn't it? It's not just one
oh
person.
my god.
I was like, oh, that's the other band members. I figured it out. We crossed that bridge. We're fine. We don't have to go back
You thought
yet.
the lead singer's name is Sugar Ray?
Yeah. And I
Like
was
the
like, that's
boxer?
Sugar Ray of Sugar Ray.
Yeah. Well, what is the lead singer's name then?
Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I only know that because he used to host like Access Hollywood or some
Yeah.
shit like that. That apparently this is just a little bit of Sugar Ray trivia for you that I think is really funny is he is like very deeply personally offended if you call the band Sugar Gay. He has like gotten in fights over it apparently. Like if you're like, hey, Sugar Gay, he will like
Sounds a
beat
little
your ass.
homophobic.
Jeez. I think he's hiding
I'm
something.
going to call him Sugar Gay and hope he beats my ass.
He just kisses you.
Yeah,
He
he's like,
might.
hey, come over here. I'm going to put it in your butt.
Maybe he's not out of the closet yet. And he's
So-
denying it.
The gang still hasn't gotten together, so this is a classic split up, but less so than like what we're traditionally used to in Scooby-Doo, which is they just all go out on their own.
Yeah.
Velma goes and investigates the island, and she gets trapped in a Rob Zombie music video.
I love when she talks to the skeleton expecting answers, and he just goes, "No."
Have you seen anything weird on this weird island? Not
no.
anything.
And then there's like Party City hand props in the background.
Yeah, that is. I do have to admit, there is some moments where I was like, you guys just went to like the day after Halloween sale for Spirit and like picked up whatever you could.
Pretty much.
This was also watching this movie earlier, about a week ago. I realized I've taken personality tropes from every single one of these characters, and I think the one that I've taken the most from for Velma is her buzzkill.
Yeah,
she's I wouldn't be impressed, or I would be impressed if it weren't for the holographic projectors there, and there. What a smart little girl.
Velma is the type of person who ruins the stretching portrait room in the Haunted Mansion, where she sits there and she's like, "We're actually on an elevator." I'm like, "I'm gonna beat your ass, Velma."
I definitely adopted that habit from Velma. My bad.
That's called being an asshole.
And then ruining fun. So then Daphne also has her own experience with a voodoo priestess.
Which
I do not for someone that's seen the movie a ton and that loves the movie, I do not understand this character. Did he live on the island and then they built this theme park around him? Is he hired by the theme park to do some sort of show? If there's some sort of show, why is no one else ever there? Who is he and what is he doing? He makes no sense out of a movie that is loosely no sense.
He's definitely against the park, it seems like. So I definitely think he was there before the park was even there.
I have a feeling that this is a remnant of something that got taken out of the movie because, like Peyton said, it sounds like he's against the park, and there's some weird inklings of like capitalist stuff throughout this movie that I'm sure they were going to explore, and they were like, "Oh fuck, wait, this is the Scooby-Doo movie. This is for children. They're not going to get this."
It's only an hour and a half.
Also, what a weird racist character to just pepper into your movie. Like, all right, only black guy in the movie. You're going to be a voodoo priest and you're going to be bad at it. It's like, what the fuck, dude? But he tells Daphne, like, yeah, whatever you do, don't go into that spooky island castle. And she's like,
Daphne's got her,
"Oh, so you want me to go there?
But you don't want me to.
And he's like, "Are you fucking stupid? No, I literally said don't go in there."
And he actually almost says that.
Yeah, he's like, that's why they had to cut it. But this leads into, hands down, in my opinion, the funniest joke of the movie, and it's so fucking stupid. When Scooby-Doo walks into a bar, and the bartender takes the phone, and he's like, "Is there a Doo here?" And that guy stands up, and did he say Melvin? He's like,
"It's Melvin Doo."
Yeah, he's like, "Melvin Doo?" And he's like, "No, Scooby-Doo?"
Scooby-Doo?
What the fuck? It's like out of nowhere, this weird-ass joke that comes from
I got a bag of hamburgers here for you.
He gets called by a sex pervert.
And he goes, "Okay." I love moments too. There's a few other throughout the movies where like Scooby looks shocked, but it's really just him being like, "That's an amazing opportunity."
Like a dog would do.
Right?
He's like, "I've got some peanut butter. Come meet me in the woods."
Peanut butter?
And then we get a little bit more development into Isla Fisher and Matthew Lillard's relationship, about him winning a claw machine game.
Oh yeah, and dude, the shit that you win out of that claw machine is like that.
No one's ever won me a stuffed dismembered head before.
Yeah, that's a claw machine that's in like the back room of a Hot Topic.
It really
is. Yeah. Here's a blind bag of all the zombie heads.
Yeah, it's fucking so weird. Now, this is the first time we get to see one of the monsters when Scooby goes into the woods. And yeah, this is where you can tell that this CGI is dated.
Yeah.
Those monsters look like fucking garbage. Even in dark light, they look awful.
They definitely got some back
I don't
problems,
think it's
that's for
their
sure.
design, though.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely
scoliosis.
yeah.
Tell you what, they're not going to be carrying the movie on their back.
Ooh, hey, all right. 35 minutes in, we got our first pun of the day.
There's like a cute little moment where Scooby accidentally flings him from a tree it flings him from a tree and then hits the skyway and then falls from the skyway into an oncoming roller coaster.
Yeah, that is like a weird, like slapstick, like go type thing, which I do like, but
Yeah.
god damn, like, this takes us to what will eventually become our like linking moment, which is Daphne, Scooby, and Shaggy all end up at the haunted castle. And again, this is another moment. The haunted castle is like by far probably the most impressive set.
It's so cool, but it also makes no sense.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
It's a fucked up attraction.
I'm like,
But
this ride is designed to hurt people.
It's the
murder. It's death.
It's the unsafe version of the haunted castle in Santa Cruz.
Oh, the old version of that ride. For
Yeah.
those of you who might be from the Bay Area, know the ride used to be really scary.
Oh, it was terrifying.
I think I've ridden it twice with my eyes open. That's how scary it was for me. But
never for me.
It's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
yes,
Yes, but not Disney-fied.
not Disney-fied. Like straight up. Like remember when Spirit used to sell like actually really scary shit? Like that's what this was filled with. It's just like this is much like this ride.
There was a electric chair scene. It terrified me. I think it's still in the ride actually. It just
because they kept some of it.
Because it just makes me uncomfortable every time we go by. It's just like this skeleton guy just getting shocked and vibrating. I'm like, I can't deal. I look away. Just close eyes.
But do you know what it didn't have in it? That is the scariest thing ever.
An actual dead body, like the one in Long Beach had.
No, Jesus Christ! I was going to say a pussy turkey.
A pussy turkey.
Shaggy and Scoob are a perky. A tussie.
Yeah. Well, so we have a nice little conflict. The Scooby, Shaggy, and Daphne go inside, and then Fred shows up, and they're like, "No, this is my clue hunt." And then Velma is also there. She scares Daphne. There's a cute little flirty moment where it's like, yeah, there was supposed to be some lesbian joke there. And then
she scares him.
Yeah, she goes, and I scared the patootie out of Daphne. And I was like, ooh.
Did it like tickle her?
Yeah.
She looks at the turkey and she's like, I'd eat that.
She licks her lips. She's like, I'm hungry for Thanksgiving.
NASA.
And then, of course,
stuffing.
We get the classic, all right, gang, let's split up. And Velma calls out Fred's bullshit. And we get like a cute line after they all break up where Fred is just like, he's just stupid straight man, where it's like, dorky chicks like you turn me on too. And she's just like, God damn,
I do like that. I do like that they really perfectly encapsulated what it's like for most like himbo straight men to like compliment a woman. Like, fat tits also turned me on.
Yeah. Just because you're thick doesn't mean I don't want to pork you. And it's like,
yikes. Oh man.
Yes, the ride gets turned on.
And so do I.
And so does
everyone
Daphne.
else. And this is when we learn that this ride is a death trap. And like, Jesus Christ, everyone's going to get fucking killed in it. This is when Shaggy and Scooby get tied off to this, the worst saw trap I've ever seen in my life. And then they proceed to eat the pussy turkey.
No, they don't eat
the
that.
sausages.
They eat the sausages.
They eat the sausages. Yes, you're right. But they're coming out of the pussy turkey. So this is when the gang finally uncovers the plot behind Spooky Island. Basically, what they're doing is they're going to take rowdy teenagers and turn them into law-abiding, like, corporate citizens. It's, honest to God, the weirdest fucking shit because it's so loose.
It's the Manchurian Candidate.
I'm like, but that's right, because then they make them fight and they're hella strong and shit like that. But I'm still like, okay, where's this going? It's like it's the plot to Jurassic World, like, and then we'll use these kids as weapons. It's like, all right, okay, it's just like that's it. It's like, okay, cool, We've established that. Thanks, guys. You could have just made it that it was a spooky island, but whatever.
Yeah.
This is when the movie finally decides, oh, that's right, this is a kid's movie. And Scooby and Shaggy have a burp fight.
A fart fight, too.
No, dog. Shaggy straight up just absolutely shits his pants in front of Daphne. Just like
I love when he notices Daphne though, and it's like he closes his asshole.
And I hate it so much because I don't know why I am this way. I do not find like burps funny really in the least in this context. Like when him and Scooby are going back and forth burping, I'm like, okay, like not very funny, whatever. But I don't know. I was losing my shit when they were farting, and I don't know why I think that's so much funnier than the burps.
No,
but
you're not alone. I was the same way. Like burps, farts. Oh, dude, I've done some of those long ones too.
especially when Shaggy just straight up shits his pants. That's my favorite part.
We're here to solve a mystery.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the mystery of who shit their pants, and it was Shaggy.
He does have brown pants on.
Oh yeah, hiding it.
How many times does this
of
happen
all
to
the
him?
food that he eats, he's like incontinent now, so he has to wear the brown pants to cover it up.
Just doesn't have control. It just slips right out.
Hey, when you're a vegetarian, that's a lot of fiber.
Yeah, that is a weird thing about it. Oh,
That's right.
you just brought that up. That is a piece of trivia that is directly from Casey Kasem, who used to voice Shaggy on the
Casey
original
Kasem.
animated series. He had become a vegetarian later in life. And as a nice homage to him and like thank you so much for laying the groundwork for the most recognizable human character in this show, we're going to make Shaggy a vegetarian in your honor. And that was like that's why he's a vegetarian in this.
I was wondering why he was eating eggplant burgers. I was like, eggplant? Why didn't he just have a 15-stack hamburger?
Yeah. So this is when the luchador guy shows up. And then the gang, they all hide as members of Spaceship Earth within this ride.
Loved it because it's like there's people approaching from the left, there's people approaching from the right. What do we do? And then like 2 seconds later, they're all in like full prosthetics of the like Velma has a beard glued to her face. Like they're in full knight armor. Daphne has a blonde wig on. Like,
Yeah.
It's that stupid comedy of just like split-second cartoon changes that they put into the real world. And I was like, it's so good. They just did it.
This movie, after this, it does what it keeps doing, which unfortunately is not its strong suit, which is they keep splitting everyone up separately and follow separate leads. And the movie really, really, really comes together when they're all together having fun and all that kind of stuff. And it just sucks that these parts are so often, but it does lead to the fucking wackest flashback scene of this movie.
Well, okay, so Daphne goes off to research cults on the net.
Yeah, it's like,
Which
okay,
is a
thanks for
really
doing
great
absolutely
line.
nothing.
Yeah.
That was always my part in a research group was I'll go to the computer lab.
Yeah. Fred is like, I'm going to be macho. I think Scooby and Shaggy go off to eat. And then Velma's like, I'll be the one that actually does real work, but kind of ends up getting date raped. Not date raped. She definitely gets roofied.
Yes.
He has one drink and is like, whoa, this is crazy. And this is what leads into her story. Or at the end of the story, she's feeling the roofie.
Yeah, this flashback scene, goddamn is Velma horny in this flashback scene. She's just like, oh God, everyone was so fucking hot. I was just like, all right.
And Fred, he really knew how to accessorize. Where I was like, you can just say he's gay.
And Scooby.
And Scooby had a really perfectly trimmed butthole.
That red rocket.
The guy at the bar is like, all right, you could stop. You could stop.
Oh, please. No more drink. I'm sorry I roofied it. I'm sorry.
And the mystery machine smooth automobile curves. Ooh.
And I was sitting in
leather.
the middle seat on top of the gear shift.
And this is when the movie all of a sudden was like, oh fuck, we don't have a villain.
Right.
It's about 45 minutes in. This movie's like more than halfway done. And they're like, shit, we don't have a villain. Who is it? Okay. why the fuck did they make Scrappy Doo the villain?
I guess that was why a lot of people also didn't appreciate the movies, because they made Scrappy Doo the villain, but I loved it. I was like, hell yeah, that dude sucks. He's tiny and annoying.
Yeah, he was annoying,
like,
because he's not in a pup named Scooby Doo, is he?
No.
He's in, I think the
He's
first
in,
time
like,
he shows up
classics.
is in the
It's Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo.
movies.
Okay.
The new Scooby Doo movies, which is the one that had cameos from like famous people and stuff like that. I think that's when he shows up. He could show up earlier. I'm not
like whenever the Three Stooges were on it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like,
Batman
I
and
don't think he
Robin,
was in like
Don Knotts,
Or
Bob Hope.
Batman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
I'm not a Scooby Dooologist, so I'm not quite sure when he shows up.
Scoopologist, all right.
But I actually think he might be in a pup named Scooby Doo. I don't know. I love that show, but yeah, and like, what if they just had Scrappy put down when he pissed all over Daphne? Like, what if they were just like, "You're dead, you're done"? Then we would have been saved from this whole thing. What if this was just a weird story with Velma leads into, and then we had Scrappy put down?
Then we visited a vet and told him, "Hey, do what you got to do. This thing's annoying."
We dropped him off at a kill shelter. We don't know what happened since.
I mean, they might as well have. They dropped him off in the middle of a desert.
I know that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they really just abandoned him.
They just are like, we don't want you anymore. We're moving, and we don't want you.
It's either me or him. It's like, shut up, Scrap.
No one's ever liked you, Scrappy Doo.
Real.
And when he pees on her, he's like, and Fred's like, "Oh, and you're peeing on her." He's like, "Whoa."
He's like, "You were marking your territory," is what he says. It's like, all right, guys, I'm done with this fucking flashback. I get it. And it's so blatantly apparent that this is going to be our villain from like the get-go. It's like, all right, well, thank you. So this is when we finally get, and this is kind of crazy. It's like, yes, this has so far been pretty by the numbers Scooby-Doo stuff. But now it's finally the monsters are unleashed.
That's the sequel. We'll do that one a year from now.
Yeah, right?
A special anniversary episode, Monsters Unleashed and Evolution 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I like Monsters Unleashed a lot.
It's good.
Probably
I think I
more
like that
than
one
this
more.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's hilarious is so many of the actors look back negatively on this film, and it's like, but you did a sequel. You
Right?
signed on for a sequel.
Also,
And
this
a
got
third,
them like
too, was
literally,
supposed to happen.
yeah, and a third. This got them solid fucking jobs, consistent jobs for super long because they became so recognizable as the voices that they started doing them on TV for a while.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard was Shaggy
still
for
does it.
up until this last
Until
Scoob.
Scoob was
But
bad.
you know what? That's better for him.
Yeah, I hope he does continue to do it for like TV shows and stuff.
So
This is when Mr. Bean gets kidnapped by the monsters. We get a classic Scooby-Doo door chase scene.
I don't really appreciate whenever Fred gets captured and he's hanging upside down, and I guess the monsters have like toxic knockout breath.
Oh
And
yeah, or they just burp in his face. Another fucking like burp joke.
So they like breathe in his face, and the last thing Fred says is "Save Daphne," and I'm like, I didn't see that much of a relationship before this.
Yeah,
it
it's
seems like
shut
such a
the
weird
fuck
line
up,
to be
Fred.
like, "Save Daphne." It's like, well, did you save her in the previous 2 years when you decided to leave the group? What?
No, because he was absolutely crushing it out there in the.
He was jerking himself off with Fred on Fred.
But yeah, Daphne and Shaggy, they hatch a plan to rescue everyone. So their plan, they call the Coast Guard. I guess that's the best that they can do. And also they call the gay Coast Guard apparently because it is like the most effeminate gay Coast Guard I've ever seen in my life. And they're like, fuck you guys. And that's it.
Well, I don't think it was very wellly explained, but those Coast Guards are definitely possessed by the monsters. And
I
the
agree.
only reason that it's known is because of the colored
Awkward
visual
laugh?
cue. No, the colored visual lighting cue of green.
That's what I figured. Yeah. But it's like,
It's
so
really
do the monsters make them gay?
Yep.
hey, why do you think I'm still gay? They never
That's
got
why-
me.
Monster.
That's why Lady Gaga calls them little monsters.
Oh.
If you'll notice, she only rose to popularity after this film came out.
Fuck.
Dang.
Whoa. This is the Lady Gaga verse.
Her soul is still inside that cauldron? We got to go rescue her before she makes oh shoot, the movie she was just in.
A Star is Born?
Star is Born. That movie's good.
Born 2.
Oh, Star is Born 2.
A Star is Born 2. He didn't actually do it.
He's back from the dead.
Yeah.
He's actually Scrappy Doo.
Star is Born 2 on Zombie Island.
So they wake up on the beach because they like decided to sleep. I don't know. This movie really was like, all right, we really got to get it to the next day and we don't know how. So it's the next day and everything's back to normal, except for the worst fucking sin that this movie commits, which is, we talked about it, Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray shows up, and I wish Sugar Ray was a bad band because they were possessed by monsters. But unfortunately, that is not the case.
They should have got Outcast. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
Outcast is
obviously,
smart,
Outcast didn't want to be associated with the movie.
Because like Scrappy's in it. Yeah, count us out.
Fred starts speaking in like hip lingo.
What up, dog? And dog. I still love that line.
Yeah. And doesn't he say for shizzle my nizzle?
I'm pretty sure
he does
a bunch of those
he doesn't say
Snoop
for shizzle my nizzle, but he does say something similar to it, because I know what that ties back to, and that's a no-no for white people.
Yeah, and that's what
We
I'm
don't
saying. It's
say
like,
that.
oh no, now that they're converted, he thinks it's okay for him to say it. He's like, oh, there's a monster inside of me, and he told me it's cool.
And I was like, what?
Yes. He's like, that voodoo guy on the beach told me I could say it now. There's a monster in me.
It was
so.
definitely a very weird moment of a white person speaking quote unquote jive.
Yes.
Where
And
it was
it's
like,
awful.
this is not great.
Yeah.
Probably not appropriate.
Some guy in the audience calls the band Sugar Gay, so they all attack everyone and start beating the shit out of
They
them.
go, because like Shaggy couldn't speak the lingo, and so they knew that Shaggy wasn't controlled. But it's like, you also didn't capture him yet, so you should know that Shaggy's not controlled by a monster.
Right?
Like-
It's like he was laying on the beach for the whole night, and you guys didn't like see him the whole.
Yeah.
Like what? What are you guys
I
doing?
know. I was like, they didn't just go out on the beach; they were asleep. And then like Daphne was sleeping with the Damon-ritis right there, and it was like, no one's going out and looking for that and being like, hey, they're on the beach and they're sleeping. We could kill them and also take the Damon-ritis.
Like, quick, Shaggy's not racist. He's not one of us. Get him. So,
So, oh my god, they have a really good chase scene, and they get to my favorite joke of the film. So, Scooby and Shaggy run, they're being chased. They go into this shed, and there's two great jokes here, and I love both of them. Scooby goes, boy, is Fred in a bad mood. Which, like, and then Shaggy goes, well, that's not Fred, which, like, that's not just the funny part of Scooby being like, wow, he's in a really bad mood.
and do you know what I do like about that joke, though, and why it's so funny is we've all been there.
Right?
We've all been when, like, someone's really mad, and you're like, damn, that person's in a bad mood. You don't even know everything that's fucking going on.
It's like, something's wrong, but oops. And then they're standing there, and Scooby says, Rikes! And Shaggy's like, yeah, yikes. And he goes, no, Rikes, which is just, then the captions like turn, and you can see that there are bikes. Where I think it's hilarious that they use his speech impediment to be like, yeah, it is scary. It's a yikes situation. He's like, no, bikes.
It's like, yeah, you fucking stupid dog with a speech impediment.
And then we get one of the scariest moments of the film, which was Isla Fisher getting her face hit on a branch, and you realize that it's a monster underneath.
Yeah, and this is when we find out that Scooby-Doo is transphobic, and he calls Mary Jane a man.
We're a man in a mask.
Yeah, a man in a mask. And Shaggy continues to be the best fucking character in this movie because you could just tell he's down. He's like, whatever. It's like, yeah, Shaggy.
Your mama eats cat poop.
How long do you think she was a monster? Do you think she was on the plane, or do you think it was like that last night?
I think she was turned into a monster either while they were asleep or whenever they all broke up after waking up on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Because
And
then
then,
it wouldn't make sense for the night prior, because then they have to plant her next to everybody
Yeah.
without actually taking them.
Listen, Peyton, the error that you're making is bringing logic into this film.
Right.
That's not what we're doing
I'm just
here.
trying to make sense of it, okay?
Scooby falls through a trap door.
And there's a
Shaggy
weird
jumps into the pit that the Jeepers Creepers guy keeps the bodies that he's going to eat later.
But Shaggy says, "My friend just got eaten," and I don't understand.
Oh, isn't the
that
trapdoor like a
line?
mouth, though?
Yeah,
Oh.
but it
Doesn't
just
a
kind of
monster
looks
go
like
in with him?
no. He just
No.
the floor opens up below Scooby and Scooby falls in, and then Shaggy says, "I gotta go save my best friend. He's been eaten." Whereas like it kind of just looks like yeah, you could say it's a mouth, but it's
He's just
weird
trying to come
say.
up with an excuse to get out of the situation.
He's like, so
the dog
he,
ate my homework.
so Shaggy's also transphobic.
Hey, listen,
I need
man
an
in a
out. I
mask.
need an out. What's my safe word?
I heard you were a man in a mask. I gotta go.
And this is like, there's so many beats of everyone's broken up, they're back together. They're broken up, they're back together. Like you said, and this is another moment of they're broken up, but they're about to get back together. But this is kind of that point in the movie where I'm sitting there, even as much as I love it, I'm like, get on with it.
Yeah, no, this is about the time where I'm like, all right, let's wrap this up, because this next set of beats for jokes are honestly, and again, like, I'm not a child, but I actually don't even know if I thought this was funny as a kid. This is when we have a body swap set of jokes, which
I still think it's
it would have been cooler if the body swap happened for longer.
Yeah. Like I
I
carried over
think-
to the next scene.
I think the slight jokes that they were able to make, though, are still hilarious.
There's one that's funny. And
I'm
it's
gonna.
when
you
Fred's
probably
like,
you're going with Fred when Sonny's talking about seeing himself naked.
yes, he's like, I could see myself naked, and I'm like, Fred, you were in a romantic relationship with Daphne for years. I don't think that's uncharted territory. What you're seeing,
though, he's talking about looking at himself naked and
oh,
appreciating his male body.
oh,
Because he looks down at his own boobs.
He's like, I can
but
go
I think
down
he's like,
on
oh shit, I can finally fuck me.
Jesus Christ!
Jeez, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Also, the really quick, it's like a jump back of a minute, but that face in that vat is not Velma.
Mm-mm.
No.
They found another.
That
person
was
who
where the
sounded
worst
like Velma.
CGI is.
Yes.
I also love those Shaggy pulling one guy out and he's like, "Thank you so much, thank you," and he's like, "Sorry, I'm looking for my friends." And instead of letting that guy go, he puts him back in.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
why don't you just start pulling people out and throwing them in the air?
yeah, he's just like, oh, dude, sorry, fuck you. It's like,
Oh, you thought you were free? Yeah, no.
So
Get back in there.
they're all protoplasmic heads minus Shaggy and Scooby, because Scooby's been taken, and so Shaggy's pulling protoplasmic heads out and throwing them out. Velma finds her own body,
And suddenly
Fred-
becomes very sexy Velma.
Yeah, she without her glasses. I was like, Linda Cardellini, hello.
Right?
Nah, dude,
that
I'm
low
telling
cut
you.
shirt.
Yeah,
this movie set me down a path. Carly, I can't. Every time I say it,
Linda Cardellini.
my wife Carly is always saying, "Oh, you have such a type. It's so predictable." And then I see this movie and I see Linda Cardellini, and I'm like, "Yep, it's pretty predictable." All right.
I can borrow my parents' dog and have him be Scooby and me be Shaggy, and you can be Fred and Daphne. Or wait, no, you can be Fred, but
I'm Fred and Daphne.
you can be Fred or Daphne, where Velma will have to be Carly, but Peyton, you have to also split it up and either be Fred or Daphne with Peyton.
Jeez.
Peyton can be one half of Fred and Daphne, and I'll be the other half of Fred and
The
Daphne.
top half or the bottom half?
And if we turn just right, it'll look like a full costume on a full person.
Perfect.
They finally get swapped again, body swapped. This is, I think you mentioned it. We also learned that the monsters are killed by sunlight, which is like, God, that's fucking stupid. That was
not Daphne.
They're the signs monsters, okay?
Yeah.
Hey,
sun instead of water.
science is good. Fuck you.
Science is good. I've been wanting to get on the show forever.
But it's a good movie. I love Signs.
I will say I did like the body swap joke too of Shaggy and Daphne's body, where it's kind of bad because it's like, oh, you're like joking about body dysmorphia, but
Is that when he's
oh,
like,
Daph, don't you ever eat?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, damn, guys, this was 2002. We're gonna give him a
Yeah.
pass. On the,
It was of the time.
Yeah. So, Scooby needs to be rescued. He's been taken into the Pirates of the Caribbean cave.
Emil
I'm a
Mondavarius?
rat price.
No, he's taken into Emil Mondavarius' office.
That's right. Yes, you are correct.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when he goes, I want you to be a sacrifice. And Scooby goes, oh, Rise? Okay. And he's excited about it. It's another one of those moments where it's like, oh, he doesn't know.
This stupid fucking dog.
And we get a cute montage of the gang putting together their plan.
Yeah, where they finally work together, which is they didn't earn this.
No.
they did not earn this work up to finally working together because it literally just fucking happens.
It was like, well, we're all in this together. I guess we might as well go back to the gang we used to be and figure this shit out. Rather than like, oh, we're supposed to work together because we have things that we all bring together and we all love about each other.
Yeah, and if COVID has taught us anything, tragedy does not bring everyone together. So this wouldn't have panned out whatsoever.
It divides
we do
everybody.
also have a second instance with the voodoo priestess and the dead Arnuki beast, but that really, like, even then it's like that scene's so pointless because it's them just realizing that Emil Mondavarius, they're like, wait, the person that brought us here is the evil person, and it's like, no shit.
It's like, yeah, haven't you guys been solving these fucking mysteries forever?
Yeah. He just told you when you got off the boat.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, can you help this for me?
Yeah.
Find out what's going on.
I do love that disco skull, though.
That disco skull is cool. They get in there to do a rescue. Shaggy fucking dies. He like literally they kick his ass. He's dead. And like because that's when he swings across the room on a rope because like the whole plan gets fucked up and he like smashes into a rock and he's just absolutely dead.
Oh yeah.
What did I say about that logic? It doesn't matter. We're in a cartoon.
So Scooby is going to be sacrificed.
I love the stupid accidental beat up scene that Shaggy has.
Where he's dancing?
Where he's dancing.
He dances and beats the guy up. And then he checks his elbow like, oh, my elbow kind of hurts, and walks away.
Stupid. Matthew Lillard, I do have to say, Matthew Lillard really is like carrying this whole film. He really went
like
the
movie on his back.
Yeah, he went whole heart into this film. And
also, I would say Linda Cardellini does really well portraying Velma, but I think Daphne, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne and Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred both work really well visually, but I don't know if they fully capture the character tropes of them.
Yeah, I think...
Or the other two did a lot better of it.
And I think personally why I think Matthew Lillard like carries the film is because Shaggy is the character that you're going to need to carry the film.
Yeah. And,
Linda Cardellini crushes it as Velma, but Velma's such a subdued character that she's just doing so good that there's not much to write home about because she's just doing so good for a character that's just supposed to be blah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in the next movie, she really like, it's a home run.
Oh my God, that leather pantsuit.
Oh God, don't. I can't talk about it.
It's so good. It's like,
save it for the episode,
that was
man.
the suit.
But they find out that Mr. Bean is a fucking robot controlled by Scrappy Doo.
This point in the movie is where they were like, oh shit, we're at a minute and 27, or we're at an hour and 27 minutes, but we need to get to an hour and 30 minutes. So we're going to slow down multiple shots for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
Like Daphne biting the wrestler's arm, them peeling off the mask. What are the other ones it's just, there's weird moments of like, and everything's slowed down for dramatic effect. Where it's like, I don't think you really slowed it down for dramatic effect there.
I do have to say this does lead to something that cracks me up, which is that like there is one very blatant character who just fucking dies. And it's that luchador who gets like chucked into the fucking cauldron.
Oh, he was most likely impaled on that.
Yeah, he's just fucking dead. But then the most egregious sin of this film that comes up is when Scrappy Doo gets roided. And he's veiny like a fucking engorged penis. And I hate it.
I can understand that his visuals are supposed to be mixing with the monster's visuals.
Yes, I get it too, but it's
creepy. And then like for some reason the joke of him having a beer belly, I was like, I don't get that, but sure.
He looks like your childhood friend's dad that would yell at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing at my house? That's him. Apparently the gem in his chest, which was that thing that they found earlier, that the Hellraiser puzzle box, essentially.
That is the Daemonitis.
You are so fucking god.
I've said it before.
Apparently that holds all the power. It gets pulled off of him, and everyone's sperm cell flies back to their bodies on the
We're
island.
all just sperm.
We are. They find Saddam Hussein in his cave. Mr. Bean is found.
Fred and Daphne kiss, but then Daphne's like, "Hey, don't do that." I'm like, why?
Okay, but the rest of this movie is really horny.
Yeah.
Like when everyone comes back to being like teens again, like you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Velma's metalhead boyfriend shows up. Who she?
The guy who was like, hey, thanks for
roofied her.
Yeah. I honestly believe that character was supposed to be a lesbian initially, and then they just were like, "Well, recast it as a dude."
Who produced this film? Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. Come on, Warner Brothers. Do something brave for once.
Right.
We don't want the Snyder cut. We want the gun cut.
the gun script.
And then, so everything kind of wraps up in the exact style of a Scooby-Doo journey. They all correct on their own previous faults, except the only thing that's really corrected on is Fred. Instead of saying his plan or what he frames as his plan, he says, and I'm going to let the Velmster take over from here.
Yeah, he should have been put down for calling her the Velmster.
Yeah, I know. That's a bad nickname.
It's the worst nickname.
That's, again, another moment in my brain where like, you didn't earn this.
Yeah.
Like him and Daphne are probably the least grown characters.
Truly.
Of this. They don't develop at all. And that's coming from the fact that Shaggy does not grow at all. Like his character doesn't change.
I don't think that his character required that growth, because I don't think he ever lost it. Where you see the other three characters, they definitely lost that shit. But then Scooby and Shaggy, there's that opening line of like, "Oh, do I quit now? No, Scoob friends don't quit." Where I think they never really were supposed to have that growth. They were supposed to show that friendship is a strong bond, and sometimes things that are broken can be put back together. In podcast, thank you.
That's beautiful.
That's Scooby-Doo the movie.
I will say,
wild trip.
I thought it was a little soft on Scrappy Doo getting put in the helicopter in his cage when he's like, "And if it weren't for you meddling sons of," it was supposed to be sons of bitches, but I wish it would have been like, "And if it weren't for you meddling and then it closed. I think that would have had a better impact.
Yeah.
Or he says the N-word because he was the monster
meddling
everyone.
The worst.
That's the cut.
Jive.
He says every slur ever used.
And they're like, "Whoa, Scrappy." And they're like, everyone looks at each other like, "Did you get that vibe from him?" That would have been a good joke to end it on. So yeah, Scooby-Doo. For those of you that are new to the show, we rank our movies on what is considered the Jaws scale. It's a pretty self-explanatory.
Sharks don't have scales.
You fucker.
I actually don't know if they do or don't, but I just thought
it's like sandpaper.
So the
Like
Jaws
a cat's
scale is
tongue.
pretty self-explanatory if you're familiar with the Jaws films. Obviously, you have Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, Jaws 4, and they are ever-changing in their quality of the film. So obviously, Jaws 1 is going to be that the movie is absolutely beautiful. Jaws 4, The Revenge, is going to be that it is a turd. So Peyton, where are you putting this on the Jaws scale?
I think I'm going to put this at a 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it's fun to see Scooby-Doo in this live action, take, and the cast has just nailed it. They're like iconic. You couldn't get a better casting. Matthew Lillard just, like I said, the movie is carried on his back the whole way. And it's just fun and enjoyable. It's a classic Scooby-Doo with a little bit of a twist, a little bit more adult, like everyone kind of wants to probably nowadays. But it's definitely like just an enjoyable movie that you can sit down and, have a little bit of a laugh. So
without doubt. All right, Jarrett, as if we even need you to say what you're giving the movie.
Well, I mean, I can understand
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island out of the Jaws scale.
Oh God, that is a great movie.
Are
you kidding me? That is the best animated movie.
The best one because it's really scary.
It's so scary. I still have to watch Return to Zombie Island because I really do.
I heard it's not good.
I don't care. I want to watch it. It's like the Pokemon movies. They're just fun.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously, like my personal choice is a Jaws. I can understand why it's a Jaws 2, and I think, it would fit more into it, but my own personal choice is Jaws 1. But to me, so much of the gripe, and I touched on this at the start of the podcast, it's of the time where it's very much the graphics and the jokes. It's all kind of rooted in that 2002 era. But I also think there's a bit of a heavy analyzation of it where people are a bit too serious about it. And I think this is especially one of those movies where it shouldn't be thought about and it should just be fun because it is technically supposed to be a kid's movie with those adult tones. They did mess it up and get it flipped around in parts. But I think this is one of those films that it was judged very hard for being a movie that is based off of such an iconic group and figures, which is understandable. But at the same time, I think that judgment was so harsh in the moment and it needs to be looked back upon. And people need to go back and change those reviews because it doesn't deserve that fucking score. It's perfect. It's perfect. Metacritic 31? Bullshit.
I do
52 at least.
I would give it like a 50. Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember the smoking controversy. Like when they first, to cut away to 2 years later. I remember so many parents just up in arms, like, "Oh, how could they include this in the movie for kids?"
Stupid.
It's like,
I think that kind of stuff would go over really well today. I think it'd be fine because it's more of an accepted,
definitely
personal activity.
It's legal in most states.
Yeah,
legalize it.
Not most states, but a good handful of the fun states.
Yeah. As for me, I'm probably going to give it. I would give it like a 1.5. I know we need to stick on, but like I'm so stuck between 1 and 2 because I love it so much. To what you were saying though, it is kind of funny to think of these cyclical things, right? Is that, like I said up top, when people bitch about the live action remakes of Disney films that are coming out now, right? Films that came out 30 years ago. Scooby-Doo started when this film came out around a little bit over 30 years prior, and I'm sure a lot of the people who grew up
started in the 70s.
In the 60s, 70s, yes.
You said so 30 years ago. Oh, I thought you were talking about present day. I was like,
no,
are you kidding me?
No.
I was like, buddy, that's 50.
So it's that cycle of not being happy with what it is, but I like it enough. Once I found out that it was James Gunn, I liked it even more, honestly, because it makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I'll give it a 1. You know what? I'll do a 1. Fully recommend it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how the fuck you have not seen it. You have to have been avoiding it at this point. But yeah, good 1 for me.
Fun. That's that generic, like, good fun. Unlike Tom and Jerry, we're not covering that film.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I watched it for you all. I know we
still need to watch it.
Yuck.
I hear it's like not even a movie. It's like just a bunch of gags.
It's bad.
Just wait till we cover the Snyder cut. Thank you guys so much.
The Snyder cut of Tom and Jerry.
That's where Tom is actually Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this first new episode of, quote unquote, season 2 of Bombs Away. If you're new, thank you for joining us. If you are returning, thank you again for sticking with us through this 6-month long hiatus that we went on. Again, go ahead and listen to that update video if you're curious about things that are going on. As for new listeners, I don't want to bog them down with information that they probably don't even know. So, join us in 2 weeks when we cover our next in the series of films that we personally liked that are bad with Peyton's pick. Peyton, would you like to let everyone know what that is?
Yes, everyone get ready for Evolution, the David Duchovny 2000-something great movie about parasites evolving into crazy cool fart monsters.
Yes,
A whole
David
lot of
Duchovny.
alien ass for some
Yes,
reason.
there's a lot of butt in that. That movie came out about the same time as this. So you got to remember that, raunch comedy and showing a man's butt was the highest form of comedy at the time.
I could tell you my Jaws skill for it right now, but I'll let you wait.
Save it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And like I said, join us in 2 weeks for Evolution. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. See you later.